The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a wonderful Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends, as always. Top right-hand corner of the screen. I haven't pointed the wrong direction in a really long time. That is sad. Greenwood Chevrolet. I almost did it again. In Austin Town, right there. It's backwards. I have to point to my left to point right on the screen. But Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same. We try our best to do the same. You see me, I'm just a jabroni out here that can't point in the right direction. But we do the same here every day. I hope you get your laughs and enjoy your info and this show that we've been doing for the last, I think this is going on almost year 3 of me as the host of Running Point. So Greenwood Chevrolet has been there every step of the way. They've always believed in what this show can be through all the twists and turns and changes the show has gone through. So we thank them for all their support, not just Running Point, but YSN as well. And we continue to follow their lead and go the extra mile for you, just like they do. We're going to start the show like we do every day. We're recapping Class B baseball. It was 18U night last night. And we're going to bring up the Class B website for you. 5 18U games that went down last night. The last full day of the regular season in 18U baseball. I have a couple of makeup games tonight. And then playoffs are right on the horizon. But the last full slate of regularly scheduled regular season games went down. And it started with the 3B Barons keeping control of the top spot in the standings with an 11-1 win over Eagleware. And they were able to score 8 runs in the second to really run away with this one. Then they scatter across a couple of runs here and there. Eagleware scores their only run in the top of the 5th. 3B Barons offense looked like this. Got a little. Wes Conville went 2 for 3 with 2 RBI. Aiden Leindecker went 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. He had a 3 RBI day from Colby McGuire. He went 2 for 3 with a run scored. Nick Thomas also with 2 RBI, 1 for 3 day for him. 2 RBIs as well from Ben Miller on a 1 for 3 day. So a big offensive performance from the Barons. All of those big hitters getting RBI. Jimmy Rowe got the win on the mound. He went 4 innings, gave up no runs on 3 hits. No strikeouts for the Barons pitching staff either. In 5 innings, they did it with contact, and their defense made all the plays. You look at the air total; they had 1 error on the day. Eagleware had none, so a pretty clean baseball game as well. But the Barons come out on top, 11-1. Let's go to the next one. Prospects and Nightline. This one's going to be a lot of offense to sort through. Nightline gets to win 13-12. And you look at the spread out of this box score. 4 runs for Prospects in the first. Nightline answers with 5 in the second. They both have cricket numbers in the third. 8 runs for Nightline, 6 runs for Prospects. That's an 11-10 game after 3 innings of play. Prospects tie up the game at 11 after the 1 run in the bottom of the 4th, and then an actual clean frame with no runs scored in the 5th. 1 more run for Prospects in the bottom of the 6th. Did I not do math right? And I didn't. 8 and 5 is 13. I don't know why I thought it was 11. Silly me. But maybe I saw that 8 is a 6, and I backed that up with. That's what I think what I did. The 6 on the bottom, and I just added 6 and 5. So Nightline scores all of their runs in the 2nd and 3rd inning. Nightline tries to spread it out, but at the end of the day, just 1 run short on this night. 13 runs, 14 hits, 4 errors for Nightline. 12 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for Prospects. Let's gather through this offense and see what went down. Nightline hitters, obviously, as you can expect, a lot of them had good days. 3 RBIs from Taggart Carfangia with a 2-for-3 day, a walk, and 2 runs scored. You had 2 RBI on the day from Aiden Thompson. He went 2-for-4. RBIs each for Matt Pallarino, Mike Skivnicki, and Luke Young. They all had 1 RBI. Skivnicki and Young had 2 hits. Pallarino had 1. And they drew a combined 3 walks between the 3. They had an RBI from Nolan Dar and an RBI from Santino Cambati as well. Dar went 1-for-3 with a run score. Ciambati went 2-for-3 with a run scored. They both walked. You look at the walk number, 7 walks drawn for the Nightline offense to go along with their 14 hits. That's 21 base runners just with walks and hits on the day. That's a good way to succeed. That's a pretty good way to win baseball, I would say. Let's go over to Prospects offense, which also had a really good day. 2 RBI on the day from Landon Brunstedler. He went 1-for-4 with a run scored and a walk. You also had 2 RBI on a 2-hit day from Hunter Stacy. He went 2-for-3 with 3 runs, a walk as well. 2 RBI from Tino Menini. He went 1-for-3 with a run scored. You had an RBI from Dominic Santee. No surprise there. He's having a monster summer. He went 1-for-4 with 2 runs scored. And then he had an RBI from Ethan Powell, who went 2-for-4 with 2 runs scored as well. Pitching had a tough day on both sides. And Nightline gets the narrow victory by 1 run, 13-12. On to the next one. We have Creekside getting the edge of Ballistic, 7-3. The final score here. And you'll look at the box score. Creekside able to come out and set the tone early, 2 runs in the first 2 innings. But then Ballistic takes a 3-2 lead after 3. Creekside takes it back with 2 in the 5th and then 3 in the 7th for good measure there to turn what was a 1-run game going into the 7th into a 4-run lead. And eventually a 4-run win. 7 runs, 11 hits, 4 errors for Creekside, 3 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for Ballistic. We look at Creekside's batting order and what they were able to do on the day. They had RBIs from 4 different players, but the 3 of them came from Aiden Crockler, who went 3-for-4 with a run scored as well. You had an RBI from Dom Ryan and an RBI from Wyatt Burchell, as well as an RBI from Mason Petridis. A couple of those RBIs came without a hit, which means, once again, we've said it before this summer, and we'll say it again, situational hitting and doing your job when you're up can become just as important for your team as getting that timely hit. So those hitters that are knocking in runs without a hit are doing their job in the moment in the situation. You had a good multiple hit day from Frank Sinadak. He went 2-for-3 with 2 runs scored for Creekside. Creekside pitching kept Ballistic down for the most part. Just 1 earned run given up between the 2 pitchers. Tyler Skeen got the bulk of the innings, and he was able to get the win as well. 4 innings pitched, just 1 hit given up, no earned runs, and 7 strikeouts on the day for him. So he pitched really well. Ballistic, on the offensive side, they had 2 RBI from Boyd Krutz. Did not have a hit, but got the 2 ribbies 1 for 3 day from R.J. Fisher. He had an RBI and a run scored as well. And those were the 3 RBI for Ballistic in their offense. We move on to the next one. It is the Astro Falcons making quick work of Athletics, 11-1. The final score in this one, you see the Falcons score 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 2 in the third, pretty much solidifying the win after 3 innings. But they added 4 more on for good measure with 1 in the fourth and 3 in the fifth, just to make sure that 3 in the fifth was actually the walk-off run rule, all they needed for that 10-run victory. 11 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Astro Falcons. 1 run on 4 hits, 1 error for Athletics. So a pretty clean baseball game despite it being a lopsided result. Astro Falcons got 3 RBI from Blake Primrose. He went 1 for 2 with 2 walks. They had a pair of RBIs from Alex Venezia, who went 1 for 1 with a run scored. He had 2 walks as well. You'll see that be a trend. 11 walks drawn by this Astro Falcon offense. They had 3 RBIs from Tommy Zimmerman. He went 1 for 2 with a run scored and a walk. They had an RBI from Andres Hermans, who went 1 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. RBI as well and a run scored from Michael Gunn Jr. And that does it for the RBIs for the Astro Falcons. But they also had a really big day from Jay Rona, who went 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored and a walk. AJ Verdi had a run scored. Tyler Vogel 1 for 3 with a run scored as well. So offense a little bit of everywhere for the Astro Falcons in this game. Their pitching was also on point. As you see, Brody Kuziar getting the win. 5 innings pitched for him. 1 earned run on 4 hits, striking out 7. So an impressive day on the mound for him in the Astro Falcons, dominating 11-1 win over Athletics. Was coming off a Sunday where they had to come back from their biggest loss of the year, with Dura Edge beating them by 6. Last game, but not least, that Dura Edge team got a little bit cooled off by the Avalanche, as Avalanche wins 7-1 over Dura Edge. 2 runs in the second, 2 runs in the third, 3 runs in the fourth. That was all the offense that Avalanche needed. That was after Dura Edge took a 1-0 lead to start the game in the first. When we look at Avalanche's hitting, it looked like this. 2 RBI day from Drew Golt. He went 1 for 3 on the day. They had a 2 RBI day from Grayson Eicher from Boardman. He went 2 for 3 with a run scored. 1 RBI from Maddox Bell and 1 RBI from Nick Solderich. He went 1 for 3 on the day. Bell, on the other hand, went 1 for 2 with a walk and 2 runs scored. Really good pitching for the Avalanche, as well as 3 players combined for the 7 innings, but it was Maddox Bell that pitched the most. 6 innings pitched, gave up just a 1 earned run on 6 hits, struck out 9, only walked 2. That's a big strikeout to walk ratio. For Dura Edge, their offense that was so good on Sunday gets cooled down a little bit. They do get an RBI on a 1-for-1 day from Jacob Rind. He also walked, so he was never retired on the day. The run scored for Dura Edge was scored by Blake Jeffries, who went 2 for 2 on a perfect day at the plate as well. So Avalanche beats Dura Edge 7-1 to wrap up the play on Monday from 18U action. As we go into the standings, before we look at who's playing tonight in makeup games, standings are looking like this. The Astro Falcons still a game and a half back of the Barons. 23-3. The Barons lead the 18U division. Astro Falcons 21-4 right behind. Athletics 17-10. That was a tough loss between 2 versus 3, and Astro Falcons were all over that one. 17-10. Athletics record 15-11. Dura Edge 14-12. Creekside Avalanche is 14-13. Ballistic is 10-17. Prospects are 10-17. Nightline is 7-18. And Eagle Way rounds out the standings at 0-26. Look at the schedule tonight. We have makeup games in 18U. And it is going to be Eagleware against Creekside on scene 2. On scene 3, it's the 3B Barons against Nightline. That's a makeup game at 5:30. And then as well as a scene 3 game, a suspended game between the Astro Falcons and Nightline. That'll be finished up at 8 o'clock tonight. I want to go to 16U real quick and look at their schedule for tonight as well, because they'll be in action. Tonight is the start of the playoffs in 16U. We will have the play-in games. Basically, these two games are for the right to play in the semifinal series. So it's a one-game take-all, and it's going to be Prospects and Athletics. That is the 4 versus 5 seed, one-game playoff. And then Creekside versus the 3B Barons. That is the 3 versus 6 seed. The winners will go on to play 1 and 2, which are the Astro Falcons and Avalanche. That series will start on Wednesday. Tomorrow is when the semifinals will begin for 16U Class B. You'll see right there, best of 5. I mean, I think best of 3, best 2 out of 3 in the semifinals, best of 5 in the championship, if I'm not mistaken. But 2 seed versus the winner of the 3 versus 6, and the 4 versus 5 will play Avalanche as the 1 seed on scene 1 at 8 o'clock. So 5:30 and 8, game 1 starts tomorrow. The 1-game playoffs between the 3, 4, 5, and 6 teams will be tonight in 16U. Make sure to tune in. Matt Marr will have the call for both of those games on ysnlive.com. Now, as we transition our recap, we go from Class B baseball, talking about that. From that, we go to Little League softball. We had District 2 action last night on the softball diamond in Little League. The district championships went down, and they were both matchups between Austintown and Canfield. And there's no shocker that the two programs that won a state championship this year also have really good youth programs that are bringing up really good talent. And that's because, one, winning excites people, and winning gets people wanting to play this sport and wanting to get into it. And then, two, what these leaders at the top, the coaching staffs and the leaders of the team that are on the team, what they do to pour into the youth on both sides, Fitch and Canfield, is just invaluable. What they're able to do to build these girls from a young age and get them interested and excited to be a part of their program when they get to varsity, which isn't that long away, especially for the 12Us. I mean, we're talking a couple of years. We'll be talking about those players on the varsity scene for Fitch and Canfield. But we'll start with 10U because it was the first game on the night. 10U, both these games were, if Austintown won, they won the championship. If Canfield won either one of these games, it would be an if necessary game tonight. And in the 10U game, Canfield came out on top. This was a close game the first time the two teams played. Austintown won 4-3 to get to that winners the winners bracket championship. Canfield had to come back from that win and get back to Austintown, which they eventually did. So they took that 4-3 loss. They learned from it. And I'll tell you what, Lily Barber for the Canfield Cardinals in the circle, man, what a performance she had. She had 12 strikeouts in 5 innings, gave up no hits, just a couple of walks and a free base on a hit by pitch. Just a really good performance, keeping this Fitch lineup that scored 4 runs on Canfield in the game prior to that, keeping them down and keeping them completely frustrated off timing. Her change of speeds was really working well. She worked the outside corner a lot, getting these hitters to just not be able to reach the ball on swing and misses. Really liked what I saw from Lily Barber in the circle for Canfield. She pitched a heck of a game. And then on the offensive side for Canfield in that 10U game, just kind of tacked on runs when they got the opportunity to. They could never get that big crooked inning that put a lot of pressure on Austintown, but once they got a couple of runs in the first, and then a couple runs again, and a couple runs again, It just kept adding to the pressure of this offense that was already pressing because they couldn't figure out Barber this time around. You could tell the body language, they were trying harder. And I know it's a misnomer because we always want everyone to try as hard as they can. But in softball and baseball, if you try harder to make something happen, try to force something to happen, that's when you get into a little bit less control of your emotions, a little bit less control of the mechanics you're doing, and all of a sudden you don't succeed as much. That's why, in my personal opinion, the 100% swings are usually not the best. I like to see hitters swing about 80%. You'll lose a little bit of barrel speed, but at the same time, you get so much barrel control. And it felt like the mechanics, as the game went on for Austintown, were starting to slip a little bit as they were trying to force the issue and do whatever it takes to get someone on and put some pressure on the base pass. Between the first inning, where Austintown actually opened the game with 2 runners in scoring position and nobody out, thanks to a walk and a hit by pitch, and then those advancing, the Canfield got out of that with no runs scored, and then they went until, I believe, the final inning before they even got another base runner on against Lily Barber in this Canfield defense. And that was when they took Lily Barber out to kind of preserve her arm. I'm sure they're going to start her tonight as well. So they wanted to save for an inning. They were up by 5. They felt like that was enough cushion to give them another room where they could have another pitcher go in there. They could have a leash if they needed to. It wasn't a 1-run game. It wasn't like one swing or a couple of swings. We're going to change the game completely. So they felt like Coach Barber and the coaching staff felt like they had the opportunity to go in there, save Lily a couple of pitches, get her out for the last inning. And that was when Austintown put their next base runner on. They didn't get a run. Nothing happened. But you could tell that like Lily was on another level in this game. So they win 5-0. And because Canfield won, they get the opportunity to play tonight. This is the exciting part of Little League softball. You get the if necessary game. It's winner take all now. Last night, a little bit more pressure on Canfield because they won or they were going home. Now the pressure's on both teams, and it's literally winner take all. Go to state. There's only one team going to state this year. The DA for both 12U and 10U in the state. They've made the change this year that you're only sending one per district. So the winner is going, the loser is going home. There's no 2 teams out of the district going to state anymore like there was the last couple of years. So the winner of the district goes. So the winner tonight is going to state, which will be back here at Boardman July 11th through the 16th. So going to be a fun time tonight. I'll be there for the call. Canfield versus Austintown, 10U softball, the if necessary game, the last game of the district bracket for softball, and it's winner go home. I mean, winner go on to the state tournament, loser go home. In this really awesome. It's going to be a great game. The first one 4-3, second one 5-0. What's going to happen in the third matchup? Who's going to take 2 out of 3? Now we go to 12U, and this one was going to be a much tougher task for Canfield. I think everyone knew what was in front of them. They hadn't played Austintown yet in this tournament in the 12Us. They lost to Howland the first game pretty badly. They come back, they win their next game. It sets up a game where they have to beat Howland again to get into the championship game. They avenge their earlier loss to Howland. They get the win. They go into the 12U championship, but they're going against the reigning champion. And a lot of players from that last year's team that went all the way to the World Series trying to make a trip back. Mila Hamley, the biggest part of it in the circle, hadn't given up a base hit, not a single hit this whole tournament. Still hasn't because they only pitched her for 2 innings and she didn't give up a single hit in those 2 innings. So Mila Hamley came into this game, no hits. She had a combined 30 strikeouts in 2 games in the district tournament. She was just her normal self. Austintown's offense scored early. They gave her a 2-run cushion. You kind of felt like the way Milo's been pitching all district, that was going to be a tough enough mountain to climb. But Austintown's offense kept chipping away, and it was funny. It was the top and the bottom that was doing a lot of the damage. The middle, Canfield was taken care of pretty well. But when they got to the bottom and Ava Fisher knocking in a lot of runs down there towards the bottom half of the lineup and then setting that table back to the top, which was really good. Annabelle Mikesell had 2 hits, a single and a triple, opened the game with a triple. Mila Hamley's hard to pitch to. So when you had the bottom half and the top half working well, you can afford to have a little bit of a hole there in the middle. And I'm not saying it's a hole all the time or a hole consistently in that lineup for Austintown. It just seemed like last night there was a big chunk of hitters in the middle of the order that Canfield was taking care of pretty, getting through those innings and not letting Austintown get those big crooked numbers. And they eventually won 9-1, but it was a steady flow of runs in this game. It wasn't one beginning where they scored 5 or 6 in one frame. It was a consistent, just we're going to keep the pressure on, keep putting runners on base, keep moving them, and keep getting those timely hits. I think Ava Fisher had a really big day. So did Annabelle Mikesell. She came in to pitch 2 more innings as Mila Hamley was relieved. And then it was Bella Mattern that came in and pitched the last 2. So they split 3 pitchers, 2 innings each. They were trying to make sure they're healthy for state in 2 weekends. They didn't want to overdo anybody, and they wanted everyone to see the circle a little bit in this district. So Austintown, their 12 U's, they take care of business. They win their 2nd straight district championship. They'll go to states. That'll also be July 11th through the 16th at the Field of Dreams. So make sure to stay locked into the state tournament, unlike years before where you had to travel to Talmadge or somewhere else in the state of Ohio. This is local. This state tournament's local for 10 U's and 12 U's. So you got to get back out to the Field of Dreams in a couple of weekends and support these future athletes of these awesome programs that are going to be competing for a state championship. We don't know who in 10U yet. Got to be decided tonight, but Austintown will be there in the 12 U's. And when you look at it, I don't think there's anyone in the state that's going to be able to hit Mila Hamley. We saw her last year. She had plenty of velocity, but she's even more locked in. I think that experience in the World Series kind of humbled her a little bit and took like, hey, okay, I got hit a little bit in the World Series. These girls, once you get to a level, they can handle my velocity. I got to have some other stuff. And she's spinning the ball a little bit better this year. Her off speed was good last year, and it's good again this year. But I think her ball's moving even more. Only got to see her for 2 innings. I wish I could have seen her more. But her ball's moving even more than it was last year, which is scary because her velocity is upper tier for this age group. I mean, you don't see a lot of 12-year-olds throwing, low 60s, which she probably taps out. She probably tops out at 62, but consistently in the 59, 60 mile an hour range. So you don't see a lot of 12-year-olds being able to do that. So being able to do that now, putting a little bit more spin on the ball, a little bit more movement on those pitches, and also the off speed is really good as well. So can't wait to see what she has in store for the state, and maybe Austintown will make a run back to the World Series. It's a long way to go. You got to win state, you got to win regionals after state, and then you can get yourself in the World Series. But one step at a time for Austintown. They get the win. I also want to shout out both varsity programs that got honored last night before the games. Canfield before the 10U, Austintown Fitch before the 12U. Seeing them out there on the field, giving every player on both teams high fives and encouraging them to go and do their best. They stayed out there for the Little League Pledge as well. They just, once again, like I said at the top of this kind of segment of the show, these programs feed into the youth. Steve Ward has been there for this run. He's been watching the games. He knows that he's going to be coaching these girls in a little bit. The Austintown Fitch girls stayed for their game. So did Canfield. So you look at it and you're thinking, man, these teams could have easily shown up, given a wave, walked off the field, and then got in their car and said, I'm out of here. Just a little press, just a little pub. But they didn't. They want to support these programs. They fed in these programs, and that's why both high school programs are really good, and they've been good. They've won 2 state championships for Fitch. Canfield just got to their 2nd straight championship, won 1 out of 2. These programs are good for a reason. These programs are really good for a reason. And it's awesome to see the older generation feed into the lower generation and the future of the sport. I was joking with Steve Ward a couple of days ago. I said, you're not going to retire anytime soon, buddy, because you got Sydney Watts graduating next season, but you got Mila Hamley right in the next round of players coming up. So in the circle, I think Austintown is going to be pretty okay. And with players like Annabelle Mikesell and Ava Fisher also coming up in those ranks, I don't think Fitch is in any kind of trouble. I don't think they are. It's going to be fun. Once again tonight, Canfield 10U versus Austintown. This one's the district championship. Everything on the line. It's winner take all in the if necessary game tonight, 6 o'clock. Field of Dreams. I'll be there. It'll be on ysnlive.com. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we have some volleyball interviews. We're going to talk to another member of that Infinity 17 team that we've been talking to for the last week. This is going to be Leigh James from Massillon Jackson, the only non-YSN member of the Infinity 17s. You're going to get a chance to meet her and her player profile after this commercial break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. And like I promised before the commercial break, we have a player profile that we are going to feature from the volleyball world, Infinity 17's Leigh James from that team, one of the great middle blockers that they have. And Infinity 17 is going on to play in the USAV Nationals in Las Vegas. They are ranked second in the state of Ohio in the OVRs, and they're also ranked 34th nationally as a club team. So they should be having a lot of success when they go down there in Las Vegas, July 3rd, which is tomorrow, through July 6th. So here's another player profile from that team. I hope you enjoy it. All right, Anthony Hartwig, we're here with another special interview player profile with that Infinity 17s team that we've been following for the last week. We're joined by Leigh James. Leigh, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So, when we've talking about this 17s team out of Infinity that is, having such a good summer, most of them are teams that we cover at the YSN family that we know so well, but you're the only one actually that we don't have the pleasure of covering during the high school season. So I want to get to know you a little bit first. You're a Massillon Jackson Polar Bear. What got you into volleyball? Talk about your journey and the start of the sport and kind of how you found yourself falling in love with the sport of volleyball.
Well, I started my freshman year of high school, so this is going to be my 4th year playing, and I don't really know. It was kind of just like my whole family played basketball, and I did for a little bit as well, but I wanted to do something different. My brother went to go play football, so I was like, might as well branch off. And then when I first moved to Jackson, one of the other players' dads was like, oh, you need to get on a volleyball court. And I was like, okay. So I went to an open gym, and then I just kept on going. And ever since, I've stuck with it. Then I started playing club, in high school season altogether. I started blocking. That was my favorite part of the game, and once I got good at it, it was done.
So you didn't play any volleyball before your freshman season?
No.
What is it like going from that, picking up volleyball your freshman season? Now here you are going into your senior season. You're on one of the best club teams, not just in the state of Ohio, but ranked 34th in the country. I mean, what's that whirlwind like for you?
I think it's crazy. Kind of just like seeing the videos from beforehand, or like talking to my teammates, and they're like, "Do you remember the first time that you went to go approach for a ball?" And it was ugly. Like, I remember my mom used to always call me a baby giraffe because I just was not coordinated. And looking at it now, like I'll watch my film and I'm like, I feel like an athlete and I look like an athlete, which is something that's kind of new. Like my family always used to pick at me because I was not coordinated, couldn't walk in a straight line, couldn't run in a straight line. But like now with what I'm doing, it's just a whole 180.
Look who's laughing now, right? When you think of that transition and being able to get to where you are now, I'm sure that there are people along the way that have helped you a lot get better and tighten your craft. Who are some people that really, really helped you learn the sport of volleyball and grow in the sport of volleyball?
Definitely my head coach, Mary Kay Dagona. She was just patient with me when it came to it, but also like, this is what needs to be done. You need to learn this. And just being able to stick with me, I think was really big. My 15th coach at Nova, Sean, he was really big as well. He kind of helped me with the fundamental stages, which is what I really lacked in at first. And once I got that going, like, I have to thank him for a lot. And Mary Kate, I have to thank them for so much.
When you think about, that time span between freshman year and now, is there a moment, maybe a game or maybe a summer or maybe a practice where you just felt it click and you felt like not only was volleyball a fun sport to play, but you were starting to really fall in love with it and you wanted to work so hard at it?
I think that would definitely be my junior high school season, or no, sorry, sophomore high school season. I was playing with kind of other girls I've been playing for a while, and I thought like, oh, I need to get to where they are. And when I think one big game was when we were playing Glen Oak, and I was running different things out of the middle, and it was just the atmosphere was so good. And that was kind of the game where I was like, okay, like I can see myself doing this for at least the next 4 years, if not longer.
When we look at this Infinity roster, like we said before, there's everyone else on the team is a YSN signed school up here in the Youngstown area. How did you kind of get on this team from Maslin? What kind of drew you to this Infinity 17 team?
Well, I was on a team with Reagan Greeneisen, and she was like, hey, like, I'm going here. We have this girl from Pitt. She's going to be on our team. Like, the people are so nice. The coaching staff is so great. And so I went out there for an open gym, and I was talking to the coaches and the director, and it just seemed like such a great and like fun atmosphere. But as well as like the girls know how to play. The girls are like not, they want to be here, they want to get better, and I think that's a really big thing. And I was just like, this seems like the right fit for me.
Yeah, you're the third player we've talked to from this club team, and each one we've talked to about just the atmosphere of club volleyball where everyone's there for the same reason. You're all there for a specific goal to get better at volleyball. Some are already committed to colleges, some still want to get themselves recruited. What's it like being a part of a room of a community, of a team that everyone is same-minded and everyone has the same goal and they're all there for the same thing?
I think it's so great. Like, all of the girls, we all push each other. All of the middles, like, when it comes to your position, we all play different positions as well. But like when I go against Reagan, she blocks me, and it's like so excited. Like, I'm happy for her, and I'm happy for my other teammates. Like when they dig me, or when I get a block on them, it's like, oh my gosh, I did it. But we really all push each other to be better without the kind of like the feeling bad about it. But like we all are competitive with each other in a good nature, and I think that really pushes us to be better, which is what's really great about this team.
Now, I mentioned it before. This team is ranked second in OVR and 34th nationally. You're going on to play in Las Vegas next weekend in the Nationals down there. But a lot of things go into that. Like, it's not just, hey, we're just going to go to nationals. Like, you had to work really hard this club season to get there. What has this season been like, this club season? What kind of things are you proud of that you've been able to do?
I think this season has been so great. I think I've come so far as an athlete. One thing that we talk about is when I first started, I could not hit a slide for the life of me. And now going in tournaments and playing games and we run it and it's like and it's good. And I think that's just like one of the aspects that really shows how much I've grown personally. I know we've played the number one team in OVR, ABC Red. We've played them 3 times so far in our season and we beat them our last time and it was just like you could see the growth and how far that we've come as we've finally been able to not only compete with them, but be able to take them down. And I think as a team, that was just one of the biggest wins for us.
You're going to be going into your senior season at Massillon Jackson. That's a big year for everyone. You're going to be asked to have a lot of responsibilities as a leader for that team. How much do you think you're going to be leaning on this experience and this club team when you go into your senior season next year?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I didn't really understand.
So you're going into your senior season at Massillon Jackson this upcoming season. Mm-hmm. So that's a season where a lot gets asked of you. You're going to have a lot of responsibilities put on your shoulders as a leader. How much are you going to lean on this club season that you've been going through this summer to take into your senior year at Massillon Jackson?
I think this team has really helped me with accountability, and I love to bring that to this upcoming season as well. It's just kind of being able to push each other, like I've said a couple times, and I think that's a really big thing, and I'm definitely hoping to bring that into Massillon as well. And I think all of our girls are pretty good at that as well, but just being able to have that competitive nature is really good in practice.
What are some goals that you have for yourself that you still want to accomplish before you graduate high school?
I think a goal for me is just consistency. I will get like a one-off hit and it's like, oh my gosh, then other times it's not exactly what I want for myself. And I think I expect a lot for myself, and that's definitely a big thing. And I hope to be able to just be the consistency piece and to be able to be a reliable player on the court and off the court. I think that's my biggest thing.
When you start thinking about your future after high school, I mean, is playing volleyball in college on the scope? Is that something that you want to try to do?
Yeah, definitely. I would love to take it to the next level, just with the love of the sport. And I think I could see myself doing this for at least the next 4 years.
As you're in your recruiting process, what kind of things are you looking for in a program and a coach that you would think, hey, if they have this in their checklist, I would feel comfortable calling that school my home for the next 4 years?
I think definitely the culture of the team is a really big thing, and how the girls interact with each other, not only on the court, but off the court as well. Like the team chemistry and the team bond is a really big thing for me. Just because when you have that bond with your team outside of the court, it just really translates into games, and you can definitely see like the chemistry when it comes to it. And when it comes to coaching, I can definitely say coaches that want to push you not only as an athlete but as a person, and just don't always translate everything to on the court, but that want to push you to be a better person and to take responsibility for all of your actions. And I think that's a big thing.
Now, every athlete's different on where they want to go. I mean, are you someone that wants to stay a little bit close if you could, or do you want to kind of get out of the nest and travel for college?
I am okay for everything. If I stay in state, great. If I go out of state, great. I don't have a preference when it comes to location. And I think that kind of helps me out a little bit.
When you think about this trip to Las Vegas, we've asked all your teammates this too. It's a long trip. You're flying down there, but it's still a long flight down there. And you're going to be with your teammates for an elongated period of time, staying with them in hotels and things like that. What kind of team bonding stuff are you excited about for this weekend outside of just playing volleyball on the court?
Well, we do have a talent show that is coming up, and I'm very excited for that as to see how that's going to go.
I've heard about this talent show. What are some of your hidden talents? What are you going to break out of the bag that you're going to be able to perform for your team?
Cannot disclose that. It is a very big secret. It's going to be a surprise for my whole team. I would love to share, but I can't.
Keeping it close to the vest. I like it. What are some other things that kind of you think are just special about this team off the court that comes through in these kind of trips where, that builds your bond and makes these friendships that you have with these girls so so important to you?
I think our team is very humble. Like, we have a girl, Abby, she's committed to Pitt, and you would never, like, she doesn't hold that against anyone. And once her girl's committed, there was no, like, oh, I'm on a higher pedestal, but we're all on the same level, and we all are just, I think everyone's a genuine person, and, like, we can get along off the court, and it's not like there's cliques on the team. Everyone just gets along together.
All right, one of the things that we do with these player profiles, no matter who we're interviewing, every sport, every athlete, we end it with giving the player, the athlete, the chance to take the limelight off themselves for a second and shine on their support system, the people that have been there for them throughout their whole career. So I want to give you the time to thank everyone that you want to thank and the people that have been so important to your journey.
I definitely want to thank my mom. She's been a huge part. She drives me to practice. She takes me to all my tournaments. She's just always been my support line, even if it's just a high five after the game or after a bad game. I just always know that she's there, whether if she's on the court or if she's on the sidelines, and it helps me. Also, my dad, he lives in Canada right now, but he comes out and he supports me the best that he can, and it just means so much to me when he makes that trip out. I also definitely want to shout out my brother. He's a huge part in the reason why I want to go far in volleyball, because he's just been such a big role model for me, and I just want to. Everyone wants to be like the older siblings, and that's definitely the case.
We want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck in Las Vegas this weekend and in your senior season as a polar bear in Massillon Jackson. We want to once again thank you for your time, and we look forward to talking to you real soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was Leigh James from Infinity 17's team that is going to Nationals in actually, I should say tomorrow they start their competition. They're probably are already down there. Almost exclusively YSN teams. We had to talk to the one that was not a YSN team, and I want to remind everyone that's listening from Massillon Jackson that enjoyed that interview. And you can have all your athletes interviewed just like that, whether it be volleyball, football, soccer, basketball, girls, boys basketball, wrestling, softball, baseball, track. We interview a ton of athletes, and you can be a YSN school, not only have the interviews, but have the live game broadcast, have the story recaps. It's all available to you. Just reach out to us. Have your administration reach out to us. We love to have Massillon Jackson aboard the YSN family, free to the schools, and it's a great service for all the community members and especially the athletes in the school system. No one shines a brighter light on high school athletes than YSN. So if you're interested in interviews like that for your polar bears, make sure to reach out to us at YSN Live, whether it be one of our social media accounts, or you can email info@ysnlive.com to start the conversation on how to get Massillon Jackson involved with YSN and become a YSN member school. That's going to do it for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today. We had a great show. I think we recapped plenty of Class B action. Remember, 16U Class B playoffs start tonight. That's going to be Matt Marr on the call on Scene 1 for both those games. A couple of makeup games as well for 18U. Eric Hughes will be able to have the call there. And then we have a lot at stake at the Fields of Dreams as well. Softball, 10U, district championship, winner take all, Canfield, Austintown, the rivalry that has been ever present in the softball world the last 2 years, especially in the varsity level. It's rearing its head back in the 10Us. Once again, I will be there for the call, 6 o'clock, ysnlive.com/live. You can find all the action. Make sure to tune in. We'll be back tomorrow from Running Point on Running Point from 1 to 2. Scotty Mitchell will be my sidecar tomorrow. Always fun when he joins the show. Until then, thank you so much again for tuning in, and we'll see you all